And the action moves to Saintfield in County Down and the famous Temple 100. They've been racing in this circuit for almost 80 years. 1998 promised to be another great meeting. Leading the field, the familiar colours and number of Bob Jackson. Number 1 on the bike, and he hopes on the roads, James Courtney. Fresh from his Dundrod success, Gary Dines was back for more. Owen McNally's not a great Temple fan, but he needs precious points. And Ryan, so near, so far. Could this be the day he gets his first win? Let's check out the course on board with Adrian Archibald. From the start, it's a tight squeeze into the first right-hander heading up McKees Hill. The infamous Hannah's jumps are a test of both rider and machine. From 160 miles per hour, it's back down the gears for the tight right-hander at McBride's, before heading off around the twisty Temple roads towards the first chicane. Lessons is a 90-degree right-hander, not to be taken lightly. Before you wind it up again over the rolling hills, slow down only by the second chicane at the Domains Gate. It's then a quick flick right and left as you drop down through the S's, before making the run to Rectory Corner, the last chance to sneak past just before the finish line. A tricky little course. Our first featured race saw a welcome return to the Ulster roads for Dennis McCulloch following his TT spill. Dungannon's Ryan Farquhar had obviously double-checked the amount of petrol in his 250. On the big bikes, Bob Jackson was fresh from his 4 wins at Dundrod. But the drama at the start centred on the 250 machine of Gary Dines. He'd seized the engine during practice. His mechanics had performed heroics, but someone hadn't tightened a nut on the carburetor, and the bike was awash with petrol. He'd start from the back of the grid. On commentary, Alan Drysdale and Harold Crooks.
The 250s and the No Time Meets Junior Open Race get underway at the Temple 100. Last man away is Gary Dines, carrying our onboard camera. He had problems on the line, but now he's following the pack as they head out into the country for the first time. And leading them is Ryan Farquhar from Owen McNally and Dennis McCulloch. Round the right and left hand sweeps as they go to the top of the hill, heading now towards Hannah's jumps. The field streaming through there, settling themselves into their seats, heading for a very difficult part of the course.
Yes, very spectacular here as they come across Moores Cross and up to Hannah's jumps for the first time. Farquhar in the lead. Relative newcomer here at the Temple has only taken part once before in 1995.
Is now the man in front, down over the undulating country of the County Down countryside as we go back to the 750s getting off their line, and the man having problems there, John Donovan, almost getting it sideways as he turns on the power going off the grid. But leading them is Stephen Ferguson from Bob Jackson from James Courtney. Remember, 2 races in 1 here, the 250s going for their championship, the 750s racing for the glory, and the 250s still being led by Ryan Farquhar from McNally and McCulloch.
Yes, through this tricky right-hander at McBride. McCulloch there in 3rd. Trevor Keys going well in 4th position. 5th position is first out in the 250 is Richard Britton. And there's the 400cc leader, RJ Hazelton, number 8, going through. He was followed by Andy Jackson. The rest of the pack stream through now. But now we're back on the approach to Shaw's Rise. A very fast right-hander, and Farquhar still leads.
Farquhar, the man in front, heading up now to McBride chicane, one of the man-made chicanes on the circuit. But back with the 750 leader, and it's James Courtney. He's still in control there ahead of Ferguson, Jackson and Donnan. Adrian Archibald in there in the 620 in 5th place.
At the Lessons corner here for the first time, and Farquhar still leads from McNally and McCulloch. Trevor Keys there in 4th position. Gary Dines now coming down through this very fast part of the course from the Lessons, heading down towards Ireland's a blindingly fast right-hander.
But the man in front is still that man Farquhar. At Gibson chicane is Dennis McCulloch there in 3rd place. Through the S's now, it's still Farquhar from McNally, from McCulloch. A very tricky part of the course. On the brakes now, into the Rectory Corner for the first time.
McNally still there in 2nd position, and Dennis McCulloch, remember, recovering from his crash in the Isle of Man when he broke a bone in the back of his neck, so he's going very well there in 3rd. And there's Gary Dines making his way up through the field, just nipping through on the inside of Norman Gardner as he goes through. But up McKees Hill comes Ryan Farquhar from Owen McNally and Dennis McCulloch, heading on now up towards the top of Wades, and then from there it'll be out towards Moores Cross and back up here towards Hannah's jumps.
And over the jumps comes on a real wiggle there from Farquhar. followed by McNally and McCulloch. Different styles as they tackle the jumps there. A succession of them, one after the other. They must get them everyone right or they're in real trouble. But Farquhar in no trouble at the moment. Down the gearbox, you can see his elbow flick there as he goes down through into the lower gears. Dennis McCulloch still sitting watching what's happening there. And look at James Courtney, he's in the 750. He's starting to thread his way through the 250s and working hard at it.
Yeah, Courtney getting up to about 150 miles per hour down into this right-hander there as he disappears from view. But back at Shaw's Rise, and that's still Ryan Farquhar leading the 250cc class. Good ride here from Farquhar, and now at the lesson school again. Farquhar through there, McNally in second, Dennis McCulloch still third.
And it's amazing, Alan, how far these three have pulled away from the rest of the field. At Gibson Chicane, still the same order with Farquhar leading from McNally. They're into the S's again. Right and left, getting it absolutely spot on. Conditions here fairly dry at the moment. Down the gearbox he comes and into the electric corner once again. It's still Farquhar from McNally, slipping the clutch to keep the revs up on these 250s as we see the 750 leader James Courtney, and right on his tail is number 6, the man who was last away, Gary Dines, followed by RJ Hazelton.
Gary Dines certainly going very well there, making his way back up through the field, so it's a pity he wasn't with the leaders when he started off, because the Temple's one of his favourite circuits.
Back at the jumps, Farquhar, front wheel in the air, wiggles a bit as he hits the ground. The last jump there, McNally still has him in his sights. Round the right-hander, down another of the jumps as they head towards the right-hander here, brushing the hedge as they come up in. Down the gearbox, Dennis McCulloch back after his crash at the TT, sitting there watching the duel going on ahead of him as they go up into the Gibson Chicane once again.
That was interesting because